One of the governor's big reform ideas this session is pension reform, which I know there's at least consensus on the goal, but I know that there's some concern on Republicans' part about where the money is going to come from.
Well, there's no doubt, Laurie, that everyone in Connecticut should applaud our efforts to better fund a pension system that is $71 billion in the red. And this first step is a responsible first step, but it doesn't go nearly far enough in putting our state on a sustainable path. If we're going to solve our pension problems, we have to begin to change the rules, at least for new hires that come to the state of Connecticut. This phenomenon where people enjoy a defined benefit plan when most people in the world are on 401k plans has got to change. And what I've suggested is that we change the rules for new hires and that we ask them to have 401k plans and that we end the practice of pension padding, which is allowing people to retire earning more than their base pay. We've got to change the rules, at least for new hires, or we're never going to get out of the hole that we're in.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but Senator Roraback is just wrong on that. The fact is that we do have no real underfunding for new hires. The problem with our pension system are the legacy people, the Tier 1 folks who hired in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, who are still out there. And this governor has finally taken a step to take back this system of not putting away the money that we're promising these folks. We made a promise to generations of state employees to fund their pensions. We didn't do it. Under Rowland and Rel, time after time, the state failed to put adequate pension funding away. And now Governor Malloy is taking the right step by saying this has got to be a priority. And we can save a lot of money on the front end by putting the money away now rather than just letting the deficit just accumulate.
Did the governor get enough concessions from the unions as far as the pensions are concerned? And should the legislature take a role in collective bargaining in the state, which it doesn't have?
No, I think absolutely the governor got a lot of concessions out of state employees. We were just a year ago going through a very long and protracted negotiation. And one of the things that the unions conceded was for new hires requiring employees to put more of their money away to cover their pension costs. This is something that we've dealt with. It's been done. And so now the question is for those employees who are currently retired and who are facing retirement soon, making sure that that money has been saved to pay for the retirement savings that we promised. Now, I don't think anybody supports going, at least not on the Democratic side, going along and looking at the collective bargaining attacks that you've seen in places like Wisconsin. That's just not the way we do business in Connecticut. And I think that there's no reason to do it, except if you're out to weaken the labor movement.
What about for either of you, longevity pay? The legislature, remember, almost pulled the plug on it last year when the concession deal was in limbo. Then they backed off. Does longevity pay, lump sum bonuses for senior employees, just for longevity, does that go away this year?
We're certainly going to make every effort to have it go away, Keith. There are very few families in Connecticut which are enjoying economic prosperity at this moment in time. Most families have taken it on the chin, are having to make do with less. We, at the state of Connecticut, have got to begin to have a reality check. Now, respectfully, Representative Lesser has it dead wrong. New hires for the state of Connecticut are going to be able to game the system because the system invites that. It's not bad people, it's a bad system. And people that are hired by the state of Connecticut today, if we don't change the rules, are going to be able to rack up the overtime in their last 3 years and retire earning more than their base pay. That system is unsustainable. It's unique to Connecticut. New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, none of those states have retirement benefits as the subject of collective bargaining. We're not talking about Wisconsin. We're talking about our neighboring states. Rhode Island just took very dramatic steps to reform their retirement system because the state is going bankrupt. When are we in Connecticut going to open our eyes and salvage the future for people that work for the state, because they're the ones who are going to benefit if we can keep this system from insolvency?
We have a lot to talk about, so we could switch topics again and talk about what you all think might be new legislation regarding the power industry. And, we constantly hear from viewers, they want to know what's going to happen after these storms that left hundreds of thousands of people powerless.
Well, that's a great question. I'm on the Energy Committee, and so one of the things that the governor did in the wake of the storm was convene a panel to look at storm response. My constituents were without power twice for a week, and there's clearly the need to reform. So one of the things that the governor's proposed in his budget is increasing tree trimming drastically. We're investing in microgrids. There are a lot of programs that we need to look at, and one of the things we need to do is look at underground power lines. But I think that that's something that the cost is potentially very high, and so looking to see what we can do that is economically responsible to ensure that what happened this fall and last summer never happens again.
Sunday sales is also going to be highly watched by everyone.
Well, I think we have to be very careful, Laurie, because Sunday sales is being thrown up. Everyone understands what Sunday sales is and what it isn't. But what the governor is proposing is a wholesale remaking of the way liquor is distributed and sold in the state of Connecticut. Small package stores are on the ropes, and their future is very much in doubt because the governor's proposals suggest that he is going to want to move the sale of liquor to big box stores. And the small towns in Connecticut that now enjoy a friendly local package store, we may see it go the way of the local hardware store and the local drugstore, and we're going to end up with Home Depot for liquor. That's not a very healthy thing for the lives of our communities, and I think that we ought not to let the Sunday sales discussion obscure the underlying changes which are being proposed and which may pose an enormous threat to the many family-owned businesses. The governor says Connecticut's open for business. He did us no favors when he told the small pharmacies, you can't serve state employees anymore, taking away one of the underpinnings of their business. I'm fearful that this proposal may spell the same kind of economic unhappiness for small mom-and-pop liquor stores.
We only have about 30 seconds. I'll let you give a final thought about the session.
Well, I think one of the things that Governor Malloy has never been accused of being timid, and what he did on Wednesday was really articulate an aggressive agenda. The legislature has a lot of issues that we're looking to deal with, and even though this is a short session, I think we can do a lot to help make the state even more business-friendly, attract jobs, and just deal with an incredibly important issue of making sure that our schools are the best in the country again.
Final thought?
Well, it's certainly exciting to have education front and center. Education is not a Republican issue or a Democratic issue. All of us want the best for our kids. Connecticut is very late to the party. Many other states have already taken serious steps to address the shortcomings in the system, and I'm happy that we're beginning to take some steps. I just hope that they're not baby steps. I'm hoping we can take some giant steps.
Right. Thanks a lot to Senator Roraback and Representative Lesser for being here. Stick around, because coming up next, we're going to hear what the state's education commissioner thinks of the governor's education package.